I would want to be Goran Dragic.
All right.
Staring down
Welcome back.
If he does somehow pull off this deal to get
Kyle Lowry, Lonzo Ball, Victor Oladipo. Best chance for the Sixers. Closest deal is either something with the Warriors for Kelly Oubre or Kyle Lowry, because the Warriors have an interest in Danny Green, and apparently the Sixers are not out on Lowry.
Yeah, maybe. When we look at the contract that Joe Harris just got from Brooklyn,
I think most likely is probably Oubre right now.
Duncan Robinson is a homegrown Miami Heat guy. Okay, they found
No Lonzo Ball trade. Sources tell ESPN he's staying in New Orleans. No. What?
Heat are really good at creating success stories. They think they can find another one if they have to include Duncan Robinson.
That's an L. That is an L.
But I haven't checked to see if he took a nap because I didn't want to wait.
That is an L
By the way, we remember
for the Pelicans.
Phoenix pulling up, that crazy trade basically at, I think it was 3:59 on the 4 p.m. trade deadline day. We could be getting that right now, guys. It is 2 minutes and 13 seconds until this trade deadline. Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo still on the board. There was a lot of chatter at one time of Victor Oladipo to Miami. Now, look, I don't know, Robert, whether Miami just figures they can get Victor Oladipo this summer. They don't have to deal for him. But what do you think Victor Oladipo would add to Miami if he did end up there either today or in the summer?
Someone tweeted, after all that. That's dumb. That's so dumb. They really couldn't get a deal done? Stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Pelicans have lost the deadline. First team to officially lose the deadline, the New Orleans Pelicans. Actually, nah. Clippers lost too. Clippers lost the deadline.
I really don't. I don't know if he have that mentality, that work hard, that grind hard mentality. Yes, he goes out there and he can hoop and he can play. He's a baller, but you gotta have a different type of mentality. Tough skin, and I don't know if Victor Oladipo has that tough skin to match that Miami Heat culture. I just don't.
Victor Oladipo likes to say he's feathery. I don't know if that fits in. I don't know. We are less than 1 minute. 1 minute to the deadline. Richard Jefferson, do you think Victor Oladipo or Kyle Lowry are going to get traded in this next
Yeah, right. When you're talking, with all respect to Brian, when he's like, oh, they could keep him. They can't keep him. They're literally actively clearing spots on the Toronto Raptors to bring back more players. So Kyle Lowry, with all due respect, played against you multiple years. You're a talented guy. Congratulations, but your time in Toronto is over.
Well, I was texting with Kyle last night after the game, and he was talking about the sign he threw up and everything. He's like, why was he saying goodbye to age 34? Goodbye to age 34 and perhaps Toronto. We are down to it. 6, 7, what, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Give us a smoke.
There we go. So wait, I just want to say, just because we haven't had the news cross yet doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I mentioned what happened with Phoenix a few years ago. It looked like, not much is happening, and then boom.
So a trade is done. We just don't know what it is.
All they have to do is be agreed upon before the deadline.
It's 3 o'clock.
Certified by the league or anything like that. So we are officially over the barrier. We will keep you posted about what may have happened in the last 5 minutes. We certainly believe something has happened. Well, Kyle is a hometown guy in Philadelphia. There was a flirtation a couple years ago when Kyle was a free agent. We thought maybe he would end up there. He tested the market. The market wasn't quite as robust for Kyle Lowry at that time as he expected. That is when he went back to Toronto on a deal that wasn't as long-term as he was initially looking for. And that is why it is up this offseason. That is why he is going to be a free agent. And we are in this position again. The Kyle Lowry sweepstakes, though, are very different than his summer free agency. Now it seems like everybody wants him. This wait is really hard for the rest of us. But as we try to figure out what has happened, who has gone where, let's play a little something, nothing, or everything. Why not, right? Because we're going to look at what we already know. The Celtics snagging Evan Fournier, never Google, from the Magic for 2 second-round picks. Don't do that to yourself. That's all it
Don't
takes.
Google Evan Fournier. Don't Google Evan Fournier. Just Google Fournier.
The man said himself, don't Google my last name.
But he said Google my last name.
No, he said he's, oh, well, yeah.
If you're not familiar with me, please Google my last name. Welcome. Listen to the player, Rachel, like you said.
I take it all back. Don't listen to Evan Fournier, but you can watch him. Ramona, is Fournier going to the Celtics, something, nothing, or everything?
I think that's something. They need some shooting. They have a lot of other needs. I think they needed a little more help. But this is something, right? They got something, and he's going to be a good player for them. But they just have a lot of young guys, a lot of guys under 6'5" that they could have used another big to help them down low.
This is I think it's everything because here again, Danny Ainge out here trading in used cars to bring back Escalades, right? And that's what he did.
What the hell is going on?
Magic and got back Evan Fournier, a knockdown shooter, a guy that don't need the ball in his hand to be successful on the offensive end. I mean,
He's better not mess anything up. What the hell? Oh, come on, man.
About Danny Ainge.
This is a huge something, especially for a guy like Kemba Walker. You know, Kemba Walker hasn't been as durable in the past, so you can get him off the ball, let him be a point guard, and give him some time to rest on that bench.
What is going on? Give me the updates. Woj, ESPN, anybody? Is there anybody out there?
And not worry about, am I going to give it to this guy or not? Will he knock it down because he's smart? His consistency is kind of questionable, but this guy has been known to knock down some big shots.
It's something. It's something because you look at what their need was versus like their number one need was probably addressing the big spot. Their second need was shooting and some help like on the scoring side. So they got their second need. And to me, the Boston Celtics, this doesn't change anything for them. I think they're still in the third or fourth spot, but they're not dropping to like the 6 or 7. They're still in the top 4, but they're still 4. So I don't think that they moved up. I don't think they moved down, but they definitely solidified their position.
Look, we're still waiting to see what's going on here as the deals come in after the deadline. This is what happens a lot of years. Things that were agreed on at 3:58, or in this case 2:58, right, Eastern time. We hear about them at 3:05. Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting, though, that Lonzo Ball is not going to move from New Orleans. They were shopping him. The deadline passed. He is going to stay in New Orleans, which I got to tell you, I think is fantastic. I really like the Lonzo Zion connection, Robert. We've been talking about
But they suck.
It's hard to find a connection when you have a guy who can pass like Lonzo and who can receive.
But they're so bad. They're not even in the playing round. They're 3 games behind Memphis. The season's not 82 games. It's cut in like by 10 games. That's pretty significant.
They're still learning the game. These guys should still be in college. We should be watching the NCAA tournament, but they still have time to learn each other.
Lonzo Ball shouldn't still be in college. What are you? I mean, 23 years old. Okay, maybe. But like.
I can't.
You're not allowed to say it. He's allowed to say it.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so this is how
he's allowed to say
there's a lot of things he's allowed to say. That's just one of them. But this is the thing. And what Perk and I were having a discussion early, it's about value. The reason why he didn't get an extension is
nothing.
He believes his value is
absolutely nothing is happening.
He believes
why? Give it to me.
They still don't want to pay it to him, but then they try and shop him, and then every other team is like, well, no, we're not going to give you 3 players or a pick for him. So basically, they're going to let him go restricted free agency. Maybe he'll get 30. Will you stop, Kirk? I'm almost done. And so, there's not going to get the value in free agency. That's what they want to go see. Go get your deal, and then we'll match it, but we're not going to overpay.
You are so wrong today. Like, you are so wrong. It had nothing. Look, the reason that Lonzo did get traded, it had nothing to do with his value. It's because He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. So if you're looking at a team like the Knicks, why give up something?
Thank you.
Something right now when you know in a couple of months I could get him and pay him and get him in free agency. That's just a smart move. It has nothing to do with undervaluing him or teams not the one to give up. No, they just know, hey, let's be smart about this. He's a free agent, and if we want him, we can get him in a free
Lakers thought that about Paul George. Saying you see it all the time. Teams think they can get somebody in free agency, so they don't go pay him, and then they go someplace else because players do take it personally. It's like, you could have gotten me. Why didn't you go get me? Like, oh, you didn't want to give up any assets for you, so the guys still take that personally. I'm just putting it out there.
No, Rich, you're right.
Thank you, Ramona.
You're right. Paul, ask Paul George
She's a
about that,
real expert.
right? I mean, Paul George to this day will still tell you, the Lakers could have traded for me, and they didn't. And so he held that against them several times when he had a chance to go there as a free agent.
Yeah, we're going to go to break after
Richard
says you're right.
That's 1 out of every 1,000, and we up here hoorahing and praising the Lord because of that. No, we're not going to do that. And here's another thing. Like, when you don't get traded and your name has been in trade talks, now you got to go back and listen to the general managers and executives lie to you and tell you how much they want you to get for the organization, knowing that
you don't really have to listen for it. You can just do like I did and be like, okay, whatever, man. I'm just going to do my job and play basketball and whatever happens.
Is that the way it went?
Yes.
Is that the way it went?
Yes, that's how it
Here's the thing
went.
about the Pelicans have a great player, and he has shown this year in the way that he's been hitting his threes. Like, I did not expect that he would be this great of a three.
There hasn't been an update in 10 minutes.
He's gotten that shot is all straightened out now. He doesn't go over to the side. He goes straight up. Okay, he is a good young player. The Pelicans valued him highly, but they obviously have young guards they want to play as well.
Did nothing happen?
And I think Chicago,
Like, seriously.
When they made the trade for Vucevic, that kind of takes them out of this Lonzo Ball equation. And the Pelicans hold tight with Lonzo. I don't know if they'll be prepared to pay him, but at least they still have him on their team, and he's been a good player for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Again, the connection with Zion, I just think don't go away from that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but again, just because you have not heard about a trade doesn't mean it hasn't happened. This is what happens at the trade deadline. For the next 20 minutes or so, we will still see deals rolling in. So stick with us. Big names still on the board. First, though,
Houston is trading Victor Oladipo to Miami. Oh, boy.
2003 Big Z, baby.
Oh, boy. Victor Oladipo to Miami. Wow. They're going to miss it on ESPN. The deals are coming in now. Oladipo to Miami. That's a big move. Are they out on Lowry then? Does that... So somehow, some way, the Los Angeles Lakers are now the favorites for Kyle Lowry. Somehow. The Sixers made a trade. Miami has now made a trade.
Crust is the most important part of stuffed crust. It's half the name. Papa John's crust is made.
Victor Oladipo to Miami.
T-Mobile is upgrading its network at record pace. We were the first to bring 5G nationwide. And now that Sprint is a part of T-Mobile, we're turning up the speed.
That's crazy.
Over 1,000 towers a month with ultra capacity 5G to bring speeds as fast as Wi-Fi to cities and towns across America. And we're adding more every week. Coverage and speed. Who says you can't have it all? You're finally doing it. Chasing your dreams and following your heart to a new beginning. At Amica, we believe in life's extraordinary experiences. So much so.
All right, what about Lowry? We're done on Lonzo. We are done on Lonzo. Officially, we are done on Lonzo. We are done on Oladipo. Lowry is next. Where is he going to go? Danny Green is trending. Why is Danny Green's agent told him to expect to be traded? Oh my lord. What is happening? What is happening? The Raptors are keeping Kyle Lowry. What? What? No. Wow. Are you kidding me? They're keeping Lowry. The Raptors are keeping Kyle Lowry. Sources tell ESPN, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. So literally, it's Kelly Oubre. If anything happens, it's Kelly Oubre. And his agent, Danny Green's agent, telling him expect to be traded. It's got to be Kelly Oubre. They're going to take on Oubre. They're going to trade him. They're going to trade Green and Maxey. I doubt that they're not doing anything. That's a really... Raptors just took a huge L. The Raptors just took the biggest L of the day. I mean... L. That's all I'm tweeting. Wow. So it's the Warriors Kelly Oubre trade is the last thing that the Sixers have left. And if they get nobody, then George Hill is their best move. So they've done basically what I said that they should do, but now I'm regretting saying what they should have done, is just trading to bulk up the bench. What's happening with JJ Redick? That's what I want to know.
Trade deadline special.
They're about to announce it on ESPN. Pelicans close on deal to send JJ Redick to Mavericks?
Go ahead, Director Kathy, make it happen. This is where I miss the cracks because you guys would both be just like
I like the smoke because it like actually frames me very well. Right?
All right.
Okay. Let's talk about the news. Houston trading Victor Oladipo to Miami, source telling ESPN. Also, Kyle Lowry, Woj tweeting, is staying with Toronto.
That's an L. That is a massive L on the Toronto Raptors franchise.
I'm kidding. I said I was kidding before I finished the sentence.
All right, Zach, what do you think of those two moves?
I'm very surprised by the Lowry one, given all the moving parts in Toronto jettisoning some guys to open up roster spots. But look, they didn't have to trade them. They're still a decent team. They're still set to be a decent team next year. They could sign and trade them this summer. Oladipo to Miami.
Why would you sign and trade him, though? Then you still have to pay him.
Is that the price was just lower than it would have been for Kyle Lowry that the Toronto held the line.
Okay, so JJ Redick is going to Dallas. Okay. So no JJ Redick on the Brooklyn Nets.
With Lowry now, obviously staying in Toronto, look, of course, they can re-sign him.
So there has to be some Sixers deal. There has to be some Sixers deal. If I feel like this is the Raptors were waiting too long. The Sixers, we know the Heat made a trade. The Sixers made a trade. I think the Sixers made a trade.
They decided to hold firm here. Do you really think they're going to sign and trade him or just sign and keep him?
I think they could, yeah. I mean, why not sign and trade him? They could this summer. There will be a market for him this summer.
No, what just happened?
And as far as why they keep him, look, he has tremendous institutional value to their team. He's the greatest player in franchise history. If the offers were middling, if the offers weren't up to what they thought they should be.
Lonzo Ball will not be traded. Yeah, we know that.
They don't really care. We have a history of getting guys that aren't even drafted and turning them into players that are better than first-round picks. So you got to give them something that matters to give up a player like Kyle Lowry. I'm not totally shocked. I am surprised given all the machinations that were going on today. It is definitely a plot twist I didn't expect, but we'll see what happens.
Plot twist, plot twist. I love trade deadline day. All right, so Kyle Lowry staying with the Raptors means that the teams that were bidding for him aren't getting him. So we just talked about Miami. Victor Oladipo is going to fill that need there. Robert, you're with the Lakers so much as one of their studio analysts. What do you think about the fact that they are not getting Kyle Lowry? We'll now move on.
Golden State has traded Marquise Chris to the Spurs.
Willing to give up what Toronto wanted.
I think in that trade, they wanted THT. And we've seen what THT can do. He has a huge upside to him. He's only 20 years old. He has a huge upside. And he's running for one of the best guys in the game, in LBJ. So to go out and Kyle Lowry and Marcus DeFarm for this guy.
Is that it?
He's a rental guy.
Philly Voice says that's it for the trade deadline. But the real question is, do the Warriors still want Danny Green? Or did they look at Twitter and decide that any move they make is stupid?
Celtics did a couple years, like Spurs have, because we always talk about potential. I always laugh when people say, "Oh, the Spurs was that team that always wanted those foreign players, and they didn't get those foreign players that didn't turn out." And that's what you think about when you just fix like this. And you just got to stay solid and keep chasing it out.
We said it yesterday. Just because you're thirsty doesn't mean you have to drink poison. It was, it's true in this situation where it's like, I believe Kyle Lowry should have moved on. But if the asking price isn't right and you feel like you have better options, whether it be a sign and trade, maybe keeping him on your roster, it was a fire sale. Ramona, Zach, everybody's kind of surprised that with all the teams that were offering that they didn't just take the best offer and start this process. But one thing that no one on this panel will do is really truly question Masai Ujiri. No one is going to question Masai Ujiri. So whatever his plan is, we just have to wait and see.
Well, it's interesting, too, on the Lakers side. We're going to talk about buyouts in just a few minutes with Bobby Marks, but this could tip also, hey,
so
is going to come their way, so they don't have to give up THT or Morgan Farm for Kyle Lowry.
So
what about Philadelphia? They are also not getting Kyle Lowry out of all of this. How do you feel about what they have, and without him, their place in the East?
To be honest, I really didn't think they needed to really push for him like that. It would have been a great addition. But I still healthy. If the Philadelphia 76ers are healthy, I still have them as the best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they're stacked. The chemistry is there. Guys are being stars in their role. Look at Tobias Harris. He's
so nothing.
Level. Seth Curry is to me is one of the most underrated.
Daniel Tice to Chicago.
But he's more than just a shooter. They have extremely good depth in the Dwight Howard, Shake Milton. Like, they have a roster. You can tell these guys are committed. They're bought in. Just look at
my man missed one game-winning shot, and they traded him. Wow.
We got another trade coming through, and it's your Boston Celtics. Not a major move, but it is going to be major to Celtics fans. Daniel Tice is going to Chicago. What do you think about that, Perk?
For what?
Woj has not revealed. Woj is not revealed from the mountain.
That means it ain't for much. If there's other people.
Mo Wagner to the Celtics.
See what happens when you miss a three?
I get it, but listen.
Mo Wagner is what I just heard through my ear. Producer Hillary, producer Danny telling me. Mo Wagner, Perk.
I don't look it. Daniel Tice brought a lot to the table, in my opinion. A guy that was an underrated shot blocker for the Celtics. He knew it.
So that guy got flipped, basically.
He extended his game, and he was starting to knock down.
That guy got traded to Chicago earlier. Now he's going to Boston.
He was a major key for this Celtic team because whether he was starting,
someone's gonna have to notify him mid-flight.
He was always a true professional, always ready. So I'm kind of hurt by this to see Daniel Tice go, especially not really.
So is there really nothing for Danny Green?
More smoke, producer Kathy. More smoke, please.
We have more smoke?
Do we?
Our Tim McMahon reporting a little bit more on that Victor Oladipo deal. He says that the Heat are sending Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and 2020 first-round swap rights to the Rockets. Ooh. So that is who is in that deal. We will be coming back with more. These trades are, again, still trickling in. So please stay with us. We are also going to talk about what happens.
Houston traded Victor Oladipo for Avery Bradley, Kelly Flop-Linick, and draft thing.
Things are happening.
Buyout market bigger than the trade market.
So, is that it? Is that it? Everyone's saying that Kelly Oubre is staying. So nothing we expected to happen actually happened. All right. So we basically end with the exact same team that we came in with the exception of not having Tony Bradley and then having George Hill instead, coming off the bench. So starting lineup is pretty much the same. Probably in the long run, it was a good idea to not give up Maxey or Thibault. I mean, obviously Thibault was a big thing that everybody wanted, but we didn't want to give up. Maxey is staying. Korkmaz is staying. Green is staying. Seth Curry is staying. Mike Scott. Everyone's staying. Tony Bradley and Terrence Ferguson are the only current Sixers that are casualties.
A deep knowledge of the sport and of the money, impeccable guidance, and a legacy of improvements. With all of this, we are powered by home. Powered by home. The best teams in the world are powered by home. Find out how we're powered by home. So, what about making it toast of one of the finest? And this one, actual confidence and of course, how to make everyone realize there's so much music.
Mm-hmm.
Reporting Golden State has traded Marquise Chris to the Spurs. We will keep our ears to the ground because even though we're past the deadline, we are still going to hear for the next few minutes deals that got done in the last 3-4 minutes before we hit that 3 o'clock Eastern mark. I now want to welcome in our front office insider, Bobby Marks, joining us now. And it's so fascinating as we watch Miami acquire Victor Oladipo. The Rockets could have just had Karis LeVert we were talking about during the break. What do you think of all the machinations that have gone on since the James Harden trade with Houston and now with Oladipo going to Miami?
Yeah, I mean, they could have had Jared Allen too. I mean, to pair him next to maybe Christian Wood in that front court here, and it would have cost him some money because he's a restricted free agent. But it's funny, Rachel, my phone has 10 text messages from 10 different teams saying, why didn't Houston just keep Karis LeVert? And why, instead of just going through this Victor Oladipo shenanigans that we saw over the past, couple days here. And when you get back, Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley.
Woj just basically almost cursed on TV.
Basically, you got nothing for him. And that's the consensus around the league. And LeVert is on a really good contract over the next few years through 2022-23. And not to be critical for the Rockets, but you could have had a nice young player instead of the two you got back from Miami.
Yeah, and by the way, not only under contract, but already playing well. The man had cancer treatment this year and is already, as we saw earlier in the show, lighting it up in Indiana. All right, Bobby, let's move on to the buyout market because that is now the name of the game. Our David McMenamin just reporting that the Lakers have confirmed to him that there's no more deals coming from the Lakers. So now they are moving on to the buyout market. Who is the biggest name?
It's Andre Drummond. I look at Drummond, and there are 6 teams to consider with him. And I think the wild card of this group is going to be the New York Knicks. I think if you are New York and if you're Andre Drummond,
the Knicks didn't do anything.
Could be long term. Anywhere else he goes is going to be a rental based on the team's cap situation with the Lakers or maybe with Brooklyn. With Drummond to New York, it's an audition for a team that's got $50 million in cap space this summer, an opportunity to play. And if he goes to a team like Brooklyn or even the Lakers, there's no guarantee that he's going to play 25 to 30 minutes. So he's the number one guy for me from the buyout standpoint.
Kirk, what would be more important to you if you were a guy like Drummond? Would you want to go to a team like the Nets or the Lakers where you feel like could win a ring this year? Or would you want to go to a place like, say, the Knicks where you could have maybe a longer-term stay there and possibly line yourself up for more money?
Well, it all depends on who you are, Rachel. I mean, some guys want to win and some guys want to get all the minutes that they possibly can, and you can't knock them for that. And I think it's going to come down ultimately to what Andre Drummond want to do. If you want to go to New York and audition and get more money, or you want to go win a ring. I mean, he done already made $100+ million in this league. I'm not counting his pockets. He's not getting younger. He should be wanting to go win a championship. And I do think if he goes to the Los Angeles Lakers, there are some minutes there for him. And I think he could get about 25 to 26 minutes a night because they are missing that lob in the basket. They're missing that guy.
Dallas sent James Johnson, Wes Iwundu, and a second-round pick to New Orleans to acquire J.J. Redick and Nicolo Melli. Okay.
Not with the Lakers' need. So if I'm Andre Drummond, you got to choose between the two. Whether I want to go for me a ring and put it and try to.
Hornets acquiring Golden State's Brad Wanamaker. Okay.
It's on you either way.
All right, Bobby. So that's a little bit about Andre Drummond. Who's your next name on the list? All these teams are going to be competing over.
Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge in San Antonio. And, when the Aldridge rumors came out, I guess a couple of weeks ago, the number was just so high.
I guess that's it, then. I guess nothing else is happening. I mean, apparently the Danny Green stuff isn't happening. Apparently the Danny Green stuff is over. All the other stuff has been confirmed. Lowry's staying in Toronto. Ball is staying in New Orleans. Those are two major L's for those franchises. I mean, even if you have to, even if you sign and trade, you still, you could have definitely gotten the teams to be desperate at the deadline. But Miami went for Oladipo. Sixers held firm, but they also upgraded their bench with George Hill. And so I think right now, you don't have that big three right now if you're the Sixers, but, in the long run, you're a little deeper than you were coming into today. So I guess that's going to be it for the live stream as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this anticlimactic trade deadline. I don't know if any other trades are going to come in. They're probably not going to come in. Woj is literally on the air right now on ESPN. Here we go. In the end, Ujiri didn't find the package that compelled him to trade Kyle Lowry, and Lowry had always been fine with completing the season with the Raptors. Now he can head to free agency in the summer. Okay. Cool. So I guess that's it. No Sixers blockbusting trades at the deadline. So that's going to be it for this live stream. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on probably the next podcast. Follow me on Twitter. Those links are, well, I didn't put them in the description of this, but the handle is @fairweatherfan, spelled the same way as it is in the username. Website is fairweatherfan.weebly.com. And I'm forgetting stuff, but whatever. Sixers have a game tonight against the injured Lakers. Let's hopefully beat them without Tony Bradley. See you next time.